3 more minutes so that people join and we'll just see the numbers of viewers, and then I'll start introduction.
By the way,
Two, three, live. So let's wait a little bit. Come on. Hello everybody. Good afternoon. And today is the 4th day of our IT camp, and we're really happy to talk about AI today. And we have a special guest. But before I introduce her, maybe we could wait for a couple more minutes so that people can join. Let me actually check how many people are watching. Yeah. Hello. Okay, then maybe we should start, right? So today's guest is machine learning expert, Google developer expert in machine learning, Margaret Maynard-Reid. Welcome, Margaret.
thank you, Dodana. I'm very happy to be here to give my talk. Should I share my screen now?
Yeah, I think you can share your screen now.
Okay. Can you see my screen okay?
I think yes.
Okay, great. And hello, everyone. Welcome to my talk, General. Video, animations, audio, music, etc. And I will focusing on images and videos and animation, since today my talk is about visual content creation. Since audio is also a very important aspect of video, I will cover generative music as well. So how do generative models work under the hood? In Ian Goodfellow's words, generative models are you take a machine, observe many samples from a distribution, and generate more samples from that same distribution. So, you hear a lot of in the news and different models, and over the years, we have also different generative models. But overall, that's how generative models work under the hood. I would say many of the people today got their exposure to generative AI through ChatGPT. There are actually quite different types of generative models. Until a few years ago, GANs, generative adversarial networks, were the most popular type of generative models. Today, many of the generative models are based on diffusion model and LLMs. Generative AI has been around for a while, but the catalyst of the current generative AI phrase, or when this phrase was created, was perhaps could be pinpointed to the stable diffusion released by Stability AI in 2022 and the ChatGPT release in 2022. When ChatGPT was released, that's when really the Gen AI became accessible by everyone. And stability diffusion release allows the accessibility by people, especially artists, to create images. And ChatGPT started with just a chatbot, and now can create images as well. And another main important part, catalyst of the current Gen AI revolution is also the large language models, the rise of large language models. There are a lot of options today for you to choose to use Gen AI today. The easiest way to get started is to use a tool in a web browser or some sort of GUI, right? Whether it's on your phone, you use Gemini, or you use Gemini through the internet in the browser. It has a user interface, right? But if you know how to code, you can also use existing open source code posted like on GitHub. You can try it out. You can fine tune your model with your own data. And that is really the power of generative AI, is to make it your own, customize it using your own data. You can fine tune it on Google Cloud, right? That's one way. And I want to point out Hugging Face is an excellent resource for all of the above. If you go to Hugging Face, you can try out some models with a simple interface. You can download the models and fine tune the models from Hugging Face. Now, I would like to talk about the design workflow. The first step in any kind of design is really a theme, a mood board, or define the color palette. Color is a very important part of the design flow. And then we will have some sort of rough sketches, and then we'll have high fidelity images, right? And when I say the visual design flow, this could be a UI, UX design, this could be fashion design, more or less will follow that kind of flow. And then in the end, you want to render, like in my 3D fashion design, I will follow the same, have a mood board, have some rough sketches, like the flat sketches, and then have high fidelity images. I may skip that part because if mine is a 3D design, I don't need to create a high fidelity 2D. I will go directly into the 3D design. But in the end, how to showcase my work, it's all about the render, right? And whether it's 2D or 3D. And to render, we render it in video. The workflow goes like, you can create some music, And you can also use image to video, a 2D image to a video, and then you'll upload your video somewhere, for example, YouTube, and then you can create a social media posting. So here's a step-by-step. And as I said before, you generate a new image, you generate music, and then you create a video, upload to YouTube, and then on YouTube you'll need to create a thumbnail and then end screen. You know, for those of you who are familiar with content creation, in particular videos, right? You need those branding materials and then generate social media posting. Here's an example of the mood board that I created for one of my fashion design collections. I collected a number of flowers from my garden and came up with a color palette of 8 colors. And here is a tool you can use called Color Magic. If you go to that website, and you can just type a prompt of the color you would like to create, such as beautiful sunflowers, and a color palette of 5 colors get generated automatically. So when I create this mood board, and also I create this color a palette with this colors, it took me a couple of weeks. And here in comparison, probably under a few minutes. Of course, you want to experiment with the prompt a bit, and then you get a color palette or automatically create a beautiful one. Now let's go over how to use the available Gen AI tools and their features. There are many tools for text to image, from text to image for generating 2D images. Here are a few popular ones, Midjourney and ChatGPT plus DALL-E, and you can use the Bing image creator, Meta AI generator, Adobe Firefly, and then finally Google's Imagen 2. And then for 3D images, Luma AI is a good choice. For UI UX design, Adobe has really good product, Adobe Express, and also try out Adobe Firefly. In particular, Adobe Firefly, if you try out their text effects, is really incredible. So all you have to do is just look up Adobe Firefly and app, and then go there and try out text effects. And Canva and Microsoft designers are also excellent design tools with AI incorporated. To generate an image, we need a prompt plus a reference image. You could just use a prompt, but I typically would prefer to use a prompt plus a reference image. And the reference image could be a reference for the style, or recently many tools started to incorporate this feature called the character consistency, right? So you could use that reference image for character consistency. And you can choose a tool, and then how do you get a prompt? You hear a lot about prompt engineering, etc. You could go to lexica.art to type in a description, and then there will be many images, and you can choose the image you like, and it will give you the exact prompts that you can copy to another tool that you can use. On Midjourney, you can use /describe. If you upload an image, you can actually use /describe. And then you can use a model to caption the image. And I think there's even collab notebooks that you can run, and you can use Gemini to caption the image to get that prompt so that you can use image generation tools. Lexica.art is one of my favorite places to get a prompt. So that's what I said. For example, I type in a prompt, a community of developers studying together. So that's a very short sentence, right? But once I find an image that I like, I click on it, it will give me a much more detailed prompt that I can copy to another Gen AI tool to use. Prompt engineer best practices. So prompt engineer, the prompt that you enter into a text, image, or text to some media tool, it's very important to have a good prompt. So I have included a few resources here for you to follow. I will share my slides later on, so you can actually click on those links, and then you can actually run through a collab to practice this choosing different prompt and then visualize the results. This notebook is part of the Google Cloud Gen AI for Developers Learning Path on course number 7, Gen AI Explorer and Vertex AI. So here is how I create the image shown on the previous slide. So I'm going to back up, and so notice that this image is not a square image, right? It's not square. How did I get an image that's not a square? Because a lot of the Gen AI tools will give you just a square image. So here's how I made that image. First, I create a few images in Midjourney. With the prompt, I just typed in imagine prompt engineer best practices, and 4 images got created. And then I like that second one. I just download the second one, which has a size of 1024 by 1024. Then I use Adobe Firefly in Photoshop's generative fill. And how I use it, I resize the canvas to be larger, so there's some sort of margin, black margin on the top and the bottom. And then I just clicked on the Gen AI tool to say generative fill without any prompt. And then look, this already, the image got expanded. There were some little artifacts I had to touch up in Photoshop, but overall, it only took me a few minutes to expand that image from a square to a rectangle image. Here's Bing Image Generator. This is powered by OpenAI's DALL-E. And so DALL-E was released a couple of years ago. It was one of the first, I would say the first text to image generator with very high resolution. And so this Bing Image Creator was powered by DALL-E. If you use ChatGPT to create images, it also is, but under the hood, it's also using DALL-E. However, you have to pay for ChatGPT. Here, if you use the Bing Image Creator, it's free. And this is an image that I created just by creating with a prompt saying, created a traditional Chinese qipao. That's a pretty good understanding what a Chinese qipao is. And it keeps track of my creation history. And it also has seamless integration with Microsoft Designer, a tool that I mentioned earlier. Now, here is, I use the exact same prompt to try out Firefly Image 2 model. You can try it out by firefly.adobe.com. I tried different prompts. It's not always very good with full body images with the qipao or some fashion. It's great with a close-up, with the face and then the upper body. And then it's high fidelity and realistic. And I might guess the reason why it's really good with the close-up portrait is because it's probably trained with Adobe stock photos. So this is an important part of the Gen AI tools, that you understand the tools are slightly different depending on what data they use to train the models. And then here's me using the same prompt. This time is using Imagine with Meta AI, another free Gen AI tool for text to image. Pretty impressive results. The qipao looks like a flare dress underneath. So typically the qipao underneath is not flare, but this is beautiful. The color is vibrant. I really like this design. So this is a Google Imagine 2, and this image, I used the prompt a view of the Earth and actually it's a view of the Earth in 2050, and it's realistic. And this one I generated by using a Colab notebook. You can do that the same, and by calling the Imagine 2 API. So I mentioned Hugging Face earlier, how it's like a great resource for Gen AI for you to play with. And here is this link, huggingface.com, and then space multimodal art. And then you can find this IP adapter Face ID model. And while you're on that link, on that page, all you have to do is drag and drop a photo of yours. And this works best with faces, right? So I drag and drop a face of mine, and then I type a text, what I want to see, with my face, but perhaps a Chinese girl wearing a qipao. And there's a setting, set preserve face structure, and you can play with the number. When the number changes, it will set how similar the image will actually look like you. So this one, I think I set the face structure number to be lower or less similar to my face. So it looks much younger than my face, but when I change the number, it will get closer to my original image. This is a more of like a 3D object that gets generated. When I download the OBJ files, they look a little fuzzier, less lower resolution than what I see on the UI or Discord. Really art. Actually, before I go to music and audio, I'm gonna go back to here. I want to mention a couple of other recent 3D advancement. One is Adobe recently integrated the substance sampler, integrated AI in there, where you can type a prompt to create a 3D object. And then there's another one, which is to the recent NVIDIA GTC conference, they also announced a new text 3D model called the Latte 3D. So those were the other two recent advancements besides the Luma AI that I tried out. So now I'm going to talk about music and audio. Music and audio is very important, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to create video and included music in there. Not just the visual part, but the sound part is very important. It goes hand in hand with the visual part. You could go to this Refusion to try it out. And I believe this is also on Hugging Face if you want to take a closer look at the code. And you can go to Google's Music and FX. Google's Music FX is a part of the AI Text Kitchen. So there you can also access the image FX and text FX. And so basically you generate text to music, text to image, as well as text to text to text. So I'm not entirely sure if it's available in Tashkent. You could give it a try. Just search for AI Test Kitchen by Google, and you have to sign up. And then here is stable audio, and this one also generates, these are also generating music. But from all of these, what I found is music effects. Music effects works best for me. So with Vision, here you just enter uh, a prompt. In this case, I typed relaxing vacation on a tropical island, and then a music got generated for me. This one, as I said, this is Music FX, part of Google's Test Kitchen. It's powered by music, a language model, and there's many new features got added because I think this was announced by Google I/O last year, and since then many features have been added. For example, I think you can choose how long it is. There's a drop down. You can choose the track, whether it's 30 seconds, 50 seconds, or 70 seconds. When it first was announced, it was only 20 seconds. And so 30, 50, and 70, these are perfect short clip music that you can put in your shorts, right? And you can also choose a music genre when you generate the music. And this one is by Magnet. Master audio generation using a single non-autoregressive transformer, and it's open source. Text to music, text to audio. It's on par with the state of the art models, and it's 7 times faster. So let's see if we can play the music. Actually, can you hear the music at all?
No, I don't think that we can hear it.
Okay. You can't hear the music. Oh, okay. I think because I set my audio input as my headphone, so you cannot hear the music, unfortunately. Okay. Hang on just a second. Actually, no, I will share my slides. You can try it later on. Otherwise, I have to stop the slides, etc.
Right.
So let me see. Actually, just a second. Let me see if I can change my audio source. Okay, just 1 second. Let's see.
Yeah, we still can hear you.
Okay, and I'm gonna try to. I'm not on my headphone anymore. I'm gonna play this. Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear it now.
Okay, great. So you can hear the music now. Okay, so you can still hear me okay, right? I'm not on my
Right,
headphone.
right.
Okay, great. Now I'm going to talk about video and animation. That I have mentioned the music. There are quite a few tools for video and animation. And one of the very first tools started was Runway ML to create videos. And these tools on the left, they are more or less tools for creating entertainment. They are very like short clips, right? So Runway ML and Stable Video Diffusion and Cable.ai, Pika.ai, and Meta has Fairy, and then Google Video Poet, and then Sora. So I did not include a slide on Sora. I just want to talk about Sora a bit. And so Sora was released by OpenAI recently. It is probably the best
text to video generation tool out there. It's not accessible just yet. It's only available to limited users. OpenAI is doing a beta testing with artists, filmmakers, and all of the other tools. And then Google Video Poet, I believe, it's only a demo page. It's not accessible. But all the other ones, and Fairy, I can't quite remember if it's available or not, but these tools are available, paid or unpaid, above here. Sora is not available, but
First, very, very sorry for the technical issues. We are not on live stream yet. We put it on pause. So I think we were on the video editing with the AI part, if I'm not mistaken.
On
So-
which one?
Video editing, because we were, I think we're
Video
done with the,
editing.
yeah, I think we were done with the music. Then we moved on to the video.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's not too bad. And let me pull up my thing. And hold on. I'm gonna share my screen and you tell me where we are. Okay.
Sure.
So I'm gonna share my screen just a second. Yeah, I didn't. I glanced up. I noticed that my video, camera was not on, and I was just wondering why it's not on.
And
but
we
I
couldn't
talking, and
reach
then
you. Sorry.
I clicked on my Zoom and there was nobody. I said, okay. But I know I was talking when I tried to do the drum part. I know that we were good up until then,
Right.
which isn't too bad. So, could you please allow me
Yeah,
share
sure.
screen?
Share screen now, Thomas. Just a second. Yes, it's enabled now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Tell me which one I'm on. Like, where did it
I
stop?
think it was here. This one, the magnet thing, or the
Oh.
next, maybe next one. What was the next one about? Video animation, and this one, yeah, the tools for the video editing,
Okay.
right? So are you ready? Should we start the live stream?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm ready.
Can we start the live stream? Really? Okay, we are live now.
Oh, okay. Maybe we have been live. You can cut out those from your
Hopefully.
YouTube editing. But anyways, so okay. So here I'm gonna just go back a little bit. And now I'm on video and animation. I'm gonna share a few tools for video and animation. These are the tools on this side. They are short video. They can create short videos for entertainment. On this side, it's more like longer video for education. And for the short videos, Runway ML was one of the first tools that got started with video, text to video, and image to video, etc. And then Runway ML and Stable Video Diffusion, Cable AI, and Pika AI, they're all available for people to try, either for free trial, you try for free, and then you can decide if you want to pay. And Meta's Ferry, I can't remember if it's available or is it just announce it for you to look at the demos. But I know Google's Video Poet is only just the demo videos. I want to talk about Sora. So as of today, Sora is the state of art, video, text to video generation, Gen AI tool for video generation, because most of the other tools, they can only generate a few seconds or very short clips. Sora, on the other hand, can generate up to a minute. And the quality is also much better, because as I go through the next few screens, you're going to see some of the video generation tools. They're not quite videos. They just have a little bit of movement and animation, right? When I say walking, it's not quite walking. But this Sora tool actually can generate very good movement. It looks like a real movie. Some people say it has a huge impact on filmmaking, the filmmaking industry. Unlike the other ones are just short videos. And the longer videos, how they work is instead of just a prompt to image or a prompt to a video or image to the image to a video, they are more working as capturing an avatar and capture your face and how you would talk and capture your voice to create marketing or training videos. So let's take a look at Stable Video Diffusion. This is on Hugging Face community demo. If you go to this link, and the input is a prompt and an image. I just drag and drop a 2D image that I created, it's like a 2D snapshot from my 3D fashion design, right? And then I put in there, and that's the input, and the video gets generated. As you can see, this video, the person is really not moving. It's just the snow falling in the background, and her eyes are blinking. And I've tried with this one, try with walking, in the prompt I said walking, but really no walking was generated. And then this one, the Kabi AI example. So this one, I started with a simple reference image, and if I play this again, and I'm gonna stop here. As you can see, this is actually was my original design. The shoes are very plain, they're not styled, and the shirt is also fairly plain. That's my design. But as we move forward into the video, you will see the outfit gets much more styled, and you take a look at her shoes is also, you look at her shoes, right? And sometimes you start to see some earrings on her ears, and the bracelet, and also the outfit looks much richer. And yeah, over here, beautiful frames, right? I'm just zipping through the frames, and you also see the lighting in the background and on her face is changing, right? So let me just play this again. Oops. Hello, I'm Margaret. Today I'm going to share with you the art of sketchnoting. Oh, sorry. So, what is sketch? I have to stop that one. Just 1 second. I'm just finding my okay. So as I said, I started with a simple reference and tried to create a video. I used the prompt, a fashion designer walking down the runway. And as you can see in the video, she's really not walking. However, I still like this tool because it created really beautiful design as I was fast forwarding the frames, right? And I like the lighting and animation. And you also notice the music. In this case, I used the Google Music FX to generate the music, and I created the video. The video created by Kabi.ai, and I merged that with the music I generated from Music FX in a different, my own tool. But if you use the paid version of Kabi.ai, you could also upload the music, the audio part, and then they will create a video with the audio integrated. So I just want to point that out. Quite a few of these video Gen AI tools, they will allow you to add the audio. Although I don't think they can create audio yet. They just create the animation and the video part. And this one is pika.art, text to video. It's image to video. I'm gonna play this real quick. So this one, how I created this, I use pika.art. I type in the prompt, the same prompt, fashion model walking down the runway. I used again one of the designs that I have, but just the 2D image as the input. As you can see that this one, as I move through the frame, you can see her feet are moving. She's actually walking, which is better than the previous example I showed you. There are more just the eyes moving or just the frames with a different design changing, but they're not quite walking. So this one is walking. And this Pika.ai.r also allows you to create a short clip, perhaps 6 seconds. And then when you can generate a video based on the previous clip that created and just keep going. And then you can create a longer video in that way, which is much better. However, it is still have some trouble maintaining this character consistency throughout all these, if you generate multiple clips. I tried it out. I generated a much longer video. I cut it out here at about 10 seconds, 7 seconds ish, because I could generate much longer. But as the model is walking, you can see the dresses are kind of breaking apart. So that is one of the challenges with not just the video generation, but even text generation, right? If you generate multiple images or video has multiple frames and multiple images, is that maintaining the character consistency is a challenge. So this is Google's video poet. It takes video generation to a whole new level. It's not just image to video. It's a large language model for zero-shot video generation, has multimodal features, text to video, image to video, stylization, outpainting, video to audio. Here I'm including an example of the video poet creating audio to match an input video without any text as guidance. Okay, so I thought that's pretty cool, right? The input is just a silent video with a bear playing a drum, and then the model is able to generate the drum beats matching the movement in the video. The Google Video Poet is, you can go to that website, you can look at the different examples. It's not accessible as a tool just yet. I'm looking forward to seeing it become a tool one day. Application. Now I'm going to move on talking about HeyGen. It can create instant avatar which can be modified, and you can provide a script. And when I say script, it meaning if you're creating a video, you're preparing what you're talking about, right? And then the video is generated after you a few minutes.
Here is a video clip created with my HeyGen instant avatar. Pretty impressive. With this, I can now create many educational videos quickly.
That's great.
So I think that's
Here is a video clip created with my HeyGen instant avatar.
You can see that I'm actually kind of moving in that video. Eyes and my head is moving somewhat naturally, and I think it matches my movement when I give a talk, and the mouth movement as well. My voice sounds really high pitched in this video. This is a generated video. My voice sounds a little high pitched in that video. My guess is probably because I used just a free trial, and many large companies actually use this tool to create marketing and educational videos. I would expect it for a paid version, it will have better voice matching. This one is a similar tool, doing text to video, and can also provide custom digital avatars. I haven't tried it yet, but I will give it a try and see how it compares with other similar platforms. I record videos, like educational videos and tutorials, etc. I think these tools will be really helpful for me. Maybe, I get a lot of invite. People ask me to give talks. Maybe I could just use use AI to generate these, and then I will just be there to answer questions. But the entire thing will be AI generated. Okay, future trends. On Gen AI, I want to wrap up my talk with a few thoughts on the future of generative AI. Multimodal, not just limited to text or images, as I mentioned about generating animation, videos, and 3D objects. 3D is really the way to go. One of the way to represent the 3D model is multi-view. There are different data representation of 3D objects. There could be point cloud, multi-view, meaning if you use a camera, you take different pictures from different angles. that can form a 3D object. And think about animations and videos. There are basically multiple frames to form this animation or video. So when we have very high fidelity of generating video, it's really going towards generating 3D as well. One thing I want to mention, I think, I actually did mention, did y'all hear when I talked about the NVIDIA and also Adobe's?
Yeah, Adobe's, I remember about Adobe's.
Oh, I think that's where probably I got dropped off Zoom, is that I didn't have it on my slide, but from the recent NVIDIA GTC conference, they also announced a new text to image, image to 3D, sorry, image to 3D generation tool called the Lattice 3D. So do check that out. So you will hear a lot of new announcements from Gen AI. I would expect that are going to be focusing on multimodal animation, video, and 3D. And another thing is, as you hear all these new things, when I look at, I got into AI machine learning in 2016, and I started to giving talks about Gen AI probably about 2018, 2019-ish. Back then, there was no such terminology of generative AI. We'll talk about generative models. But today, every single day, you'll hear new announcement, right, on Gen AI models, some breaking news and some breakthrough in research, right? One of the trend is also, as these models coming out, they also get very quickly integrated into our application. So it's like research and production, they go almost in parallel. And another thing is the current Gen AI revolution pretty much got powered by the large language models, which requires a lot of compute and not very friendly for running on device. So the trend is also, how do we come up with efficient and smaller models to run on device? So you'll hear a lot of the research, state of the art coming out will be smaller Gen AI models running on device. And then finally, easier customization by everyone. You know, when I talk about fine tuning, well, not everybody is a machine learning expert to fine tune, right? I would expect in the future, as the tool is so accessible to everyone, not just researchers, not just engineers, artists and designers and everyday user, right? Everyone is using Gemini and the ChatGPT on their phone already. I would imagine these tools will allow easier customization by the users, not just input of text and input of image or video, but allow you to customize to your domain or your field of work or your hobby or your interest. So that's it for my talk, and thanks for attending it today. Please follow me on social media at Margaret MZ on LinkedIn, X, Medium, and GitHub to learn more about Gen AI and art and design.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the presentation, but we still have some questions. A lot of people are interested in what you do and how you got your degree, so all the personal questions. But before we go out of this topic, I personally do have a question about it. Like,
Sure.
There was a discussion that I've read somewhere, I don't even remember anymore, and this generative AI world. Now AI is training on something that humans created, right? But what's going to happen in the future when they start training on AI generated content? What the result will be? Will it come to some like singularity? Oh, yeah.
So that is a very good question, and it's not just the impact of generating on generated images. I talk about Gen AI. Well, AI and machine learning, there's more than just Gen AI. There's computer vision, object detection, there is pose estimation, there's also working on structured data, right? More tabular data, etc. The AI and machine learning in general. So in terms of training all these models, not just Gen AI model, but AI machine learning models, having data is also always a challenge. Large companies like Google and Microsoft, that they have this resource, right? They have the YouTube data, etc. But average small company and small startup, they may not have the data. So today, the Gen AI models are already good enough to create synthetic data. A lot of the models are already being trained on that, right? So to answer your question, what would happen? Well, it's already being trained on the generated synthetic data, because a couple of years ago the synthetic data was not good enough to be used as these training data, but now it's good enough. And another thing is, if a lot of these tools are being trained on human generated data, as an artist, sometimes I get a little discouraged. I spend hours on my weekend creating a piece of artwork, and I look at it, it's not as good as something you would get by push of a button or some of the Gen AI tool, right? Just directly in ChatGPT or a lot of the tools that's already available. I am more concerned about, as artists and the designers, like, what are we going to be discouraged from the creation, both from in terms of the quality as well as the monetization part, right? Because huge impact on monetization for the artists and designers who do create these artwork, right? But I think as a society, we are going to figure out how we move forward. This is just like printing. Before printing, right, all of a sudden people can print books, or like camera. When camera was invented, people was also very concerned. Now, do we still draw or paint? Yes, we are still drawing and painting, even though they are cameras, because they serve different purpose. So I would expect, as we more mature in the Gen AI, as we have more innovation, as humans, as we have jobs lost to Gen AI, new opportunities being created by Gen AI, we will figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, I really hope that artists will not stop working on their art, because I would feel bad if the old art will be AI generated. Okay, I'm gonna read.
Original.
Right. So, do you think that it will not devalue the human work of art, or
I think it would, in some degree, devalue the human creation, just because these Gen AI tools, even a couple years ago, or sometimes people say, oh, I can tell that image is AI generated. Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Sometimes I can tell, because, for example, if you go to Midjourney, you try putting a prompt without specifying the style, or without referencing a reference image for the style, you can pretty much tell that image is generated by Midjourney. But not if you use a reference image and you're very meticulous in your style reference. It can create, you cannot tell. Also, even a couple years ago, some of the AI generated images, you can tell, okay, there's 6 fingers or an extra head, or some artifacts. But today, the 2D image in particular, it's hyper realistic images can be generated. And even on the stock, where traditionally they host all these images by photographers and artists, now there's a category. You can go look at a ton of these generative images, although they are marked as generative by AI.
Yeah, okay. So now I'm gonna move on to the personal questions that people left in the comments.
Sure.
So the first one is, let me quickly, which university did you graduate from?
Oh, I will say my undergrad is actually from Bowling Green State University. I actually studied business, and then I got my MBA from College School of Business. So my background is in business. A long time ago, I heard you mention career transition. I recently gave a talk at the TensorFlow user group at Calcutta for the International Women's Day celebration. I actually gave a talk specifically on career change. So here's my career change. I studied business, worked as a technical program manager for a long time at Microsoft, and I self-taught and learned Android programming. So I became an Android engineer and also an expert. And then I moved from Android into AI and machine learning. In 2016, I joined Microsoft AI Research. That's when I got into AI and machine learning. And then I got into art and design a few years ago. I have been studying fashion design and 3D fashion design for about 2 years now.
There's so many different things. I think it's really exciting to know that it was so long and interesting journey. So the
Yeah,
next
I want to
question.
encourage everyone, all the audience. I know there's thousands of people, this is for
Yeah.
girls, right, in IT. I want to encourage everybody to not be afraid to be a beginner as you grow in your career, even if you become an expert. Like I became an expert in Android. I was a beginner in AI and machine learning. I became an expert in AI and machine learning, and I was very much a beginner in design, fashion design. But don't be afraid to be a beginner.
Yeah, thank you. Next question, right? So for artists, what is the best, most convenient and realistic image editing software? Very specific question, I would say.
Midjourney.
Midjourney, here.
For text to image generation, and also being able to create consistent character consistency, and also being able to reference a style image or reference a style. Definitely Midjourney is the best tool hands down for artists and designers. And I find that ChatGPT DALL-E is pretty good as well, which is what ChatGPT and being image creator is using.
Cool. Another question, almost the same, I guess. What AI do you use to frame the image?
Frame the image?
Framing? I think it's pretty like designing term, I guess. Well, maybe let's move to the next question, because I'm pretty sure that we've talked a lot about a lot of tools, and this question was asked at the beginning. So
I would probably, that question was asked when I was talking, and they were referring to a specific thing that I was doing on my screen.
Right. Oh, another very specific question, but let me just read it, and you may choose not to answer, I guess. Which of the material UI and iOS designs which one is better, material UI or iOS, right? Which one has better UX technology from the UX side? Which one would you recommend for someone who wants to learn new UX to learn first? So the iOS or material UI, I guess they want to compare the technologies from the UX perspective.
I did not get the comparison. Material design
versus iOS. I believe they want to compare the Android with iOS, but
and what do they want to learn?
The UX, user experience. Which one has better user experience?
I would say Apple product in general has the best UI and UX design. If you're comparing iOS versus Android, they are two different, thoughts. Android is open, very open. Anybody can use, and Android is a bit fragmented in terms of devices. If you want to design UI UX, you have to worry about a lot of different screen sizes, etc. iOS is much more uniform. There's only a few form factor, and also the user experience. It's much, I would say, simpler, right? However, material design is an excellent design framework, and material design is not just for Android or a particular platform, right? And I think Google has an excellent UI, a UX design certificate on Coursera, I believe. I actually took that certificate. I didn't complete. I mostly completed, but I audited and audited most of the class. So I highly recommend that one. I think it's a UX design certificate on Coursera by Google.
Thank you for the answer. Very interesting question. If AI continues to develop at this rate, will it need to employ a human, not the other way around?
I am not very sure. As we develop these AI tools, even though, as I said today, the generative images are good enough to be, the synthetic data are good enough to be part of the training images, or we use AI tools to do segmentation or object detection before we train some other tools. The humans are still involved in this process, right? So, and by default, I find that humans are creative, more creative than AI. Even though Gen AI can create these impressive, hyper realistic, high res images, I am not sure we can call AI creative, even generative AI. They're just algorithms. Each model is just a very complex math function. And by us feeding the data in training it, it can do these tasks, right? And they are automated tasks. But humans, we are the creative ones. So I'm not sure if the AI will employ us, but I'm pretty sure AI can automate a lot of the human tasks, which can have a negative and a positive impact.
Right. So let this one be last question, I guess. So how to? It's more about the cultural stigma, I think, that a lot of countries has. So how to become a super lady? There are many stereotypes among people regarding girls' education, career in society. Plus, she still needs to manage and take care of her family, children, and so on. Especially it's true in Uzbekistan. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think in many countries and many cultures, it is still very challenging for women to have a career because of the family obligations. For myself, I am fortunately, I feel for my own personal situation as well as the environment. I'm in Seattle, right? So it's probably much easier compared to some other cultures and countries in terms of women having a career. I would say, though, regardless of what culture and country you're from, today the technology and the communication is so much more open than compared to decades ago. If you're from a culture or country where girls and women are not expected to succeed, and that's it. You do not have any role models and you do not have any resources for you to advance yourself, right? But today, I believe you have access, even if it's not the same type of access than another country or another city. You have very good access. You have internet. I'm sure you have access to a lot of online classes where you can learn. So just keep learning.
Yeah, thank you for the answer.
And also one more thing, I think me being a part of Google developer community, being in the community or joining these conferences is a great way to learn and the network. Networking will help open doors for you and for you to advance your career.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was the last question. I personally really enjoyed your talk. It was really interesting. Thank you very much, Margaret. And ladies and gentlemen, whoever is watching us, thank you as well. And have a good night. And Margaret, you have a good day, I guess, right?
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.